I want to ask you one more question about race before we move on that I know my people might, like I said, might be curious with, because they haven't seen anybody from, ancient aliens, anybody talk about that. Bro, is this some type of alien intervention as far as the oppression of black people? Like, this shit is crazy. The shit we got to go through. Like, is this some type of alien intervention where they're making people do? Because if you anywhere you go in the globe, whether it's our hair is a curse, our skin color is a curse, the way we talk, our dance, everything is like, it's just a complete curse to be black. Jamaicans, they're bleaching their skins. Everywhere you go, everybody's trying to bleach their skin. Everybody wants to perm their hair. It's like they want to get as far away from this black-ish as possible. Is this some type of extraterrestrial conspiracy going on, brother?
This goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel incident. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Okay, please.
Black people were dominating the planet at one time, traveling around this entire globe. There's been indigenous black people on every single continent. I mean, every continent.
Yes.
So during the Tower of Babel incident, there was a tower that we were building. This tower was, in my opinion, a technological tower. Now, some people may disagree based on how they interpret the text, but I interpret it as being a technological tower. They were mimicking something that Enlil himself had built called a bond heaven earth, where he created like his own mission control center, basically. And then inside that mission control center, they had something called a Duron key. And this Duron key allowed the elite of the elites to walk from Earth to their home planet instantly. Only the elite were allowed through it. The other people had to use the mission control. Yeah, this is amazing. This is written in stone, man. The other people had to wait for a rendezvous point to meet up, to catch up with their planet, to get back and take resources back, and they would use Mars as a way station. So we, at one particular time, Enlil had gone off to wherever these people go. They go away for, hundreds of years at a time sometimes. He came back and saw us building this tower, and it upset him so much that he had to destroy this tower. And he said in the modern day Bible, and he says it also in the Sumerian tablets, which is really predating the Bible anyway, that whatever man sets his mind to do or sets his heart to do, he still accomplish it. He realized at that moment, this is Yahweh speaking. He realized at that moment, like, these humans, man, they're not dumb. Like, whatever we did to them, it didn't work. Like, they are really capable of not only catching up to us, but maybe even surpassing us. And there's so many of them, they outnumber us. And with these numbers, they can literally overthrow us and become our rulers. So right away, the action he thought in his mind was, I got to destroy this tower. The next thing he says is, my seed shall not abide a man forever, his years shall be 120. Okay, so what happens when you go to the Harvard study that was just done a couple of years ago? They discovered that under the most pristine conditions, a human being can only live to 120 years. Okay, what they did was they took chromosome number 2 out and they fused it together, and they put 2 telomere caps on each end of chromosome number 2 to shorten our lifespan. In those telomere caps, there's genetic material that it's like a buffer material. So every time your DNA and cells replicate, it's there so that you don't lose anything in translation for the next DNA and the next cells and so forth, because your body's always changing consistently all the time. It changes out every 6 years totally. But what happens is this genetic buffer material in the telomere caps, it runs out. So when it runs out, that's when your body starts the death process. So before we were living for thousands of years, and when he realized, they living too long to get too smart, this is competition. I got to shorten their years, just keep them as grunt workers, let them do what we follow our orders, and then they die out before they can get too smart, and then they got the next generation coming and so forth and so on. So this is where it goes. So then what he did was he took us and he split us up and put us all around the planet. So he took all these people, which are mostly black people, and split us up all over the planet. This is how we got all over the planet. And then also changed our language. And the Bible says confused our languages, but he changed all the languages so that we couldn't communicate properly with each other. And so now we became people that couldn't communicate, which means we became people who were in competition with each other. And we started fighting each other instead of fighting the real enemy. So this was the system that was put into place so many thousands of years ago to take black people who were becoming technologically advanced, becoming too smart, living for thousands of years, shorten their lifespan, split them up, put them all over the planet, change all their languages, and then basically, so to speak, kind of abandon them there with new kings and rulers, putting them to work in those areas. So this is how far back it goes. So the oppression literally started because we were too smart. We were too smart for our own good, and we were looked at competition, and that's what happened.